Okay, let's have another look at a lap guide then. So hang on one sec, let me just drop the camera down a little bit. Right, so heading into turn one, I'm braking just after that, the Marshall hut here, the 2 marker, or no, that's the Marshall marker, just before the 100. All the way down to second, and then hugging the apex all the way through the corner. And then running up onto the curb here, but it's kind of a balance between unsettling the car and opening up the right-hander as much as possible, so whatever you're most comfortable with. As you see there, it just bobbles the car a little bit as you're braking, so it's up to you whether you think it's worth that extra bit of track width. And then it's important here for turn 3 not to clip the curb there, because that will just send you wide. Again, I'm leaving it in second with a hairpin and hugging the inside. And then this whole section here is quite difficult. You into the left here, you really just need a tiny little breathe of the throttle just to transfer the weight forward to help the car turn. Then you're back on the throttle, and then the final right-hander is getting the line right is really important. Going into the long right-hander after that. So here you just see me breathe the throttle. It's actually a full lift almost. And then I'm leaving it in fourth. You could shift to fifth. It almost kind of feels like you shift to fifth, and then you immediately have to brake anyway. So it's kind of pointless. So yeah, so almost a full lift going into the left-hander, and then jumping over this curb here is not an off-track, and then clipping the apex of the curbs after that. And then we're sort of aiming to be at the outside of the track where this little service road joins, down to third gear, and then using the brake, same as Brands, that light brake pressure just to transfer the weight to the front axle. You're not trying to scrub a load of speed off. You're just trying to keep the front wheels loaded up, gripped up, and kind of taking the weight off the rear wheels to turn the car. Here's another little pointless game of finding a couple of inches of track, but you can cut this grass to get the car a little bit more left before the right-hander, or you can take a line that lets you swing out to the left a little bit. Whether any of it is actually worth doing is debatable. I think what's more important is to get this apex right. You can cut a lot of the curb, but if you cut too much is an off track, but also before you get that off track, you unsettle the car a lot. So let's see how unsettled the car gets. I actually don't hit it at all. This is one of my best laps. So you probably want to aim to apex this part of the curb, so you're like half a car onto the curb, and then you won't unsettle the car too much. Then we're kind of letting the car run out wide, and again, it's very similar to Brands actually, most of the driving here. We're trying to sort of straighten up the braking zone, so you actually turn in a little bit more initially, turn away from the edge of the track, and then when you start to brake, you brake in a straight line and let the car move back to the outside. And then again, using the kind of I don't know what you would say that is, 20%, 15% brake pressure to get the car rotated. The sort of trail braking pressure. Sometimes I shift to third here, sometimes I leave it in second. I think in the race that'll depend on if I'm following somebody or not. It doesn't seem to have too much of an impact on lap time either way. Again, you're aiming for this service road as your kind of reference point for turn-in. So it's the... let me talk about the braking points. So the braking point here is the sort of apex of the little left kink. And then this is tricky because there is not really any reference. So I honestly couldn't tell you what I'm using. It's kind of, you just have to get a feel for it and then try and get into a rhythm. I mean, I am braking. I don't know, there is nothing around it. That sign is probably just going out of your peripheral vision as you're getting on the brakes. You really just kind of, that one's just got to be muscle memory. And then the braking for this is, again, there's not really a lot of markers to use. So that's probably why this whole section is so difficult actually, is because there's just not a lot of reference points. And then this corner you want a late apex and pick up the throttle and really watch the what is this, like sand on the outside here. It will, because you're accelerating hard, it will pull the car off the track into the barrier there, so just be aware of that. The braking marker for the Audi S, I think that's called, is this white line. When you're actually in the car, it looks like you're on the white line when you brake. And then just clipping this outside curb, turn in and chop the apex. And then it's another late apex. I still haven't figured out whether it's faster to stay to keep the car on the red and white curb, or whether it's faster to use the sort of concrete in a bit. But that's this little disc is the apex you're kind of aiming for. That's when you want to be finishing your trail braking and picking up the throttle again. I'm already on throttle by that point, but yeah, pretty much bang on there is that's where you want to be picking up the throttle. The car will slide on exit if you pick the throttle up too early. Again, you've got to really watch the runoff here, because it will unsettle the car very quickly. And then I'm leaving it in third. I really don't see the point of going up to fourth and then back down to third. It's just a gear to miss, basically. So leave it in third, brake on the 50, chop the apex again right to the grass on this corner. Let the car run out to the gravel, but don't touch it. And don't touch this apex curb. And this is really, really difficult to get the car rotated here. So because you're not really using the brake, so you can't use that technique to rotate the car. So you are using a little bit of brake on the way in. And then it's more about, like, I'm on like 50% throttle here. It's more about getting the line right. So you want to turn in late, hit this apex, but don't actually hit the curb. It looks like I'm going to here, but you don't want to. And then pick the throttle up. And it's a matter of timing it. So you have to, I think, what I was thinking about when I was driving was sort of trailing the brake up to this apex here, managing the throttle and then picking the throttle up fully at the end of the curve as a rough guide. And then again, really avoid running into the grass. I think there's also a little bump in the ground somewhere along here. So if you're off the track, just be aware that I think the car will jump somewhere along there. I'm pretty sure I did that last time we were here. And yeah, that's a lap of Zandvoort. This is a little bit more technical than Brands. A couple of corners, like I said, there's some corners with no brake markers, and that last turn is just really getting a feel for it. So I would focus. I would focus on the last corner. These two. I think this one's called Renault. I'm not sure. Yeah, this little S section here. Just repetition and then kind of muscle memory, and then the line through the fast S's here. So this section, they're the three main areas to focus on. If any of you guys are interested in a traffic video, then that might be something that I would be able to do if there's something you guys wanted to see. So let me know.